Welcome to Hydross on Ascended. When you start a fight, a blue circle will appear. If the boss is inside the circle, you are in phase 1. But if he is outside the circle, you are in phase 2. When you move the boss out, he is stunned for 2 seconds, reset his threat, and spawn 4 elementals. These elementals leave a ground effect on the ground on death. In phase 1, you have 3 mechanics. Tidal wave is the first. This is a water puddle that explodes outwards. The safe place is inside it when it explodes. It's recommended to use Aspect of the Pack, Disengage, and Blink, since there will be 3 tidal waves back to back with 3 seconds apart from each other on Ascended. Pulsing damage is the second mechanic. This is a pulsing damage the boss deals, and you will get a stacking debuff that further increase the damage over time. Stacks from previous phase will not amplify the damage in the current one. It has a timer of 30 seconds and will eventually run out. Tomb is the last. This is a stun that deals damage to the target player, and it also affects players around him. In phase 2, you also have 3 mechanics. Tidal wave, same as phase 1. Pulsing damage, also the same as phase 1. But then we have a beam. Groups might call it something different. You can see the 2 beams hitting the boss during phase 1. But in phase 2, they now hit players. And the closest player to each tower will always be hit. For 10-man, you can have 1 specific player on each side soak the beam from start of phase 2 to tidal wave. However, on 25-man, this is not possible. So you need 2 players on each side soaking about 60 to 70 stacks each before tidal wave. If you get 100 stacks from this beam, you will find yourself mind controlled for the rest of the fight. You still get hit by the beam during tidal wave, so watch out. So that's the fight, guys. Let me show you what I would do. For DPS and healers, the fight starts off safe. Pre-spread and basically nuke the boss. You will have a tomb, then tidal wave, then tomb, and finally tidal wave. Usually my guilds stay in phase 1 for 2 tidal waves, which gives you 30 pulse debuff, basically since our healers can handle it. Then we go into phase 2, so make sure to fade as a healer and DPS if you have a tank, especially a new tank. Then we go into phase 2, so make sure to fade as a healer and DPS if you have a new tank. Have 2 players soaking the beams. Usually in 25-man we do not assign players to soak, but with new players in our 10-man we would. Try to help out soaking if you have no stacks, but if you have 70 stacks, try to avoid it at all costs. After tidal wave, we usually bring the boss back into the blue circle to phase 1 and repeat. For tanks, you can survive a tidal wave as a bear, but I would recommend to try and avoid it. Figure out who tanks the boss and who takes care of the ads. If you're on the ads, make sure to pick them up before they die to cleave. Simply bring them out of melee range and make sure they die in a good position relative to the raids. When you bring the boss into phase 1 or 2, he will threat reset. You can simply put Vigilance on the other tank and then permataunt over and over again if the other tank gets hit by the elementals. Thanks for watching, and good luck.